and welcome back to Vitality Vault with Vitality Ventures Group. Today we have a very exciting episode. We are joined by Rhonda from Hallstrom Homes. You've probably seen her on Instagram. She is everywhere. If you haven't yet, give her a follow. I'll link all of her descriptions below if you aren't already. She'll talk more about it later, but she opened up Hallstrom Homes down here in Ridgefield, Washington. Since then, she's been featured in so many magazines, publications. She's everywhere. So we are more than honored to have her here in the vault. We kind of get into it. Laughs, cries, murder, baby cows. I won't say any more. I'll just let Rhonda and Shannon take it away. Empowered women, empower women. Here's Rhonda and Shannon.
What are we doing today?
We're talking. Oh, I have so many fucking questions for you. I can't even
Okay, but
tell you.
am I keeping myself refined?
No.
Or
Why?
Hey, bitches!
Oh,
we're
no,
doing
refined.
this. Where you been all my life?
That's what we want.
Yeah, there's no refined. So, I don't know. She might be recording. Have you done a podcast before?
I have. The Millionaire Podcast.
Which one?
That's what it was. It was the Millionaire Podcast.
Who hosts it?
I don't know. He's some nationwide dude. I think it was so...
Not My First Million. No. Because I would listen to that.
He was a home decor guy. Kind of talked about home decor, why you got started, what you bring to like homes and business, whatever. Anyways, kind of interesting because he was making a go of it, really kind of climbing the ranks in podcasting for this niche.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I think it disappeared because I checked on him later, and apparently there was some fraud going on a different business that he was dealing with. Not a legit dude. Like, a little sketchy is what I'm coming to find out. So then I'm like, no way. So the podcast, I think, was a way for him to also advertise his other business, design services or whatever else.
Right.
He probably had multiple things he was doing, but so one of them was a little sketchy, and so I think that he just got shut down eventually. Is what I gather.
Well, it also. I mean, usually that's not why you start. Most people start it and then they're like, can't keep it up because it takes
so much time.
It doesn't take me any time. It takes Maddie so much time.
Oh yeah, because then you're editing, formatting.
Right.
Do you do text overlays by the time you get this done? Item descriptions, titles, all the things.
See, Rhonda knows.
Shoot me in that. Well, yeah. Because
Are you starting? Yeah.
I have a YouTube channel, and I used to kind of do that more.
Do you still have a YouTube channel? I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, you don't want to look at it. There's not much there.
I do want to look at it. Okay. I did want to talk to you because I am fascinated by you, and I'm going to tell you why. You are on Instagram 24/7.
Yes.
And I know you have a marketing background, and I will introduce you. This is Rhonda. I don't even know your last name.
Hallstrom.
Oh, fuck me. Is your last name Hallstrom,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, so Hallstrom Homes.
Because Hallstrom Homes doesn't sound like it sounds like a book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. It's a little bit like Nordstrom,
It's a good last name.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Good people.
Yeah. And, Maddie she'll put on where you're from or whatever in Ridgefield. But you are on Instagram so much, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you plan it all out, or you're just like, no?
No, I winged every bit of it. I used to actually sell an Instagram course, but you have to kind of stay up with the latest trends, and I've kind of let a lot of the knowledge of the algorithm kind of dissipate, and then you still have to sell. If you design a course, you still have to sell that.
Oh, yes.
Right?
It's a job.
Yeah. And I would love to be able to teach women how to go into business and do all the things because I have the knowledge. But it was like, you know what? Going into the retail store, I decided I had to just focus solely on that. And so I let a lot of things go.
When did you open up? Is it 2 years?
now.
And before that, it was all marketing.
It was just all online. Yep. So I had a store online. I had the blog. Influencer, so I was making commissions off influence sales. Sent out to meet Chip and Joanna Gaines as an influencer. Dulce Faucets, a few other little big brands.
So why did you decide to do retail? Because that's a whole different level of a lot. Because even in my marketing background, there's probably more, but restaurants and retail, I don't fuck with. Because it's just, the margins are so low, it's so much. So why did you decide to open up the restaurant, the retail store, which I'm thrilled you did, because I think half my house is Hallstrom Home.
Yeah. We have that impact. Because it's something you're born with, right? Like you know in your bones, like what you are, where you're going to go. Some people don't really maybe know it, right? Because I remember even being a teenager and I'd be like, they would say, oh, but everybody has their gifts. And I'm like, I don't know what mine is. Like, I was so depressed. I was like, I want out. I don't know who Like, I kind of knew who I was, but really maybe not my purpose. And then life goes on, get married, have all these kids, and you're fiddling around with design and creating and things, flipping houses and all the things. And then I got bored one day. And you don't want to see me get bored.
No, I know. Then it's like, now what am I going to do, right?
Yeah. But then we hit COVID, and everything got shut down, and people became closed off, and it was angry. There was a lot of, and all I could think of was, they need me. I know that sounds probably a little egotistical.
No, it doesn't.
But the true form of retail therapy is what I wanted to bring into the world, because we lost it. But we had been losing it up even before COVID, right, with customer service and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I love beautiful product. I love designing homes. I love people. Not all the time.
Not all
but
people.
I do. Ultimately, I love it. I'm very passionate about things that I love. Very. And I'm just like, I just put it out there. And so then the reality was, I was selling online, right? So I had a lot of product that I was making. I have my custom mirrors, which I still do. So I was making a lot of my own product, and then I was bringing in wholesale products to add to my website.
Okay.
And because I'm an addict and I have a spending problem, it kept getting bigger.
Okay.
And my husband's like, what are you going to do with all this stuff? And I'm like, I don't know, because interesting, online sales is so different in that when I'll get an item that will trend, it'll sell out, I'll rebuy it, maybe
and then
more,
nothing.
and nothing.
Right. Yep.
Took me a few of those to learn, let it go, Rhonda.
Right.
I'm like, no, but that was glorious, And
so you didn't do drop shipping. You literally bought the shit or made the shit.
Yep.
That's a commitment.
That was stupid. There's a lot of things I have done the wrong way. The wrong way.
But again, and this podcast is for women entrepreneurs, women who want to open small businesses, women who want to then find their passion or figure out or board or whatever. And so we do all those things the wrong way. So hopefully we can help other people.
Right, but I'm hoping that other people don't do it as wrong as I did.
How did you do it so wrong?
Oh gosh, it was
just buying all the stuff, or
just some of the things that oh gosh, my back end was a mess, and my website was a mess, and I didn't know it because I'm like, it's fine. I kind of like jump in with both feet. It's fine, and now it's like clean up.
Right.
Is tough. It's systems. I hate systems. I'm a creative. I'm inspired. I don't want a system.
Is my favorite thing in the world. Favorite thing. Yeah. What you do in a shop, I would be like, oh, I couldn't do it, but I like the systems part of it. Okay. But you need both.
You do.
And I tell, and we talk, we talk a lot about this. And you being a marketing person, you understand this, but you can have the most wonderful, beautiful store and even website, but if you don't have that fucking engine in the back end working and going and growing and nothing goes anywhere.
Well, or it could, and you're extremely stressed out.
Right.
I mean, and I've been extremely stressed out. I about lost my mind after this last Christmas season because I didn't maybe have things in place that needed to be. The systems needed to be better fine-tuned, and now that they are, better, which costs money because you have to have an employee to do that and training and all that. It's peace of mind.
So you have your retail store and you still have the online store. I know, because the last time you had a special in-house, my girlfriends from the East Coast were like, can I buy it online? Can I buy it online? So I think they did. I don't know. Yeah. So you ship directly from your store? So you
from my house, we have a big shop. And
so do you sleep at all? I don't see you sleeping. That's the next thing we're going to see on Instagram. Rhonda's just going to have her phone there sleeping because you're always on.
I do. I sleep very well. There have been times in my life in this retail that I have had some anxiety where I'll be like, oh my gosh, I am in over my head. Mm-hmm. What am I doing? Right? This is a startup. I've invested everything my husband and I have. And I was never going to be that girl. Like, we were the ones that paid off our credit card every month. Now I live in credit card debt up to here. Right. And this is my new normal. So I had to learn to be okay with that. I'm not okay with that. But it gets...
But isn't that just kind of part of it, though?
Yeah, but I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So when I first started, and I'm trying to pay off my credit card every month, and I can't buy the things I was a hot mess. But anyway, so then we went through my second Christmas season, and it was just busy. It was so busy, and we were open till 7, and I'm trying to show up because I'm free work, right? Like, I work for free.
Yeah, you work for free.
Right?
How many employees do you have?
Now we have 5 or
5?
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just brought in an intern for 6 weeks. She's 16. And that's cool. I've had a few interns. I've had some huge blessings in this whole thing. So as stressed out and as I've been, and there's been times where I'm just like, I want out. Why am I doing what I'm doing?
But again,
because of the
that happens all the time.
I know. I think all of us.
You have to you just keep going. You keep grinding. You just keep going.
But I have stepped back a little bit now that we have. It's really about finding the right people.
100%.
And when we talk about that, you have the bus. And you put your people on the bus, and then that's just not a right fit. So you got to shuffle them around. Sometimes you can't shuffle. You got to get rid of them.
Yes,
right?
And that's hard to do. I think it's more difficult for women to do that. Maybe I'm generalizing, but because we're caretakers, right? And if someone isn't doing a good job, you then try to teach them and help them. But at some point, it's like, this isn't working.
Yeah.
And then you're the mean guy.
Well, I mean, generally they'll end up quitting. Yeah. There's an essence or something that happens, I think, that's just unspoken that keeps happening. Because I've had so many different employees from different age ranges for years, even before the retail. So when you get to that point where you're like, okay, this isn't working, I think they're feeling it, and I need to voice this. After you've tried the retraining. Or
the retraining, because we starts with leadership, and if someone's not doing well, what can I do as a leader? Am I doing something wrong?
But I usually suck.
Huh? Right.
Oh, tell you, the head game's on this whole baby.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
So what would you do differently? Say it's 2 years ago. What would you do differently?
I wouldn't have done this.
You wouldn't have?
No, I don't think so. But I love it now.
But you wouldn't have done it, but you said you were bored.
I was bored because you can only... I think a lot of us in life... So, back in the day, you used to pick your job career. You're going to be a nurse, and you'd stick with it your entire life.
Right.
We are seeing men, women, just shifting careers.
Right.
Because we can. I think the human in us needs a challenge, right? And that was basically what happened with me. It was like I've done a lot of different things. I used to be a therapist, work on people's bodies, minds, untwist that, whatever. So to me, it was like I went through that for many years when my kids were at home, and that worked great. I loved it, passionate. But then I got into retail, this whole Instagram influence thing.
And when did you start that? When did you start that? And then how much time until you decide to open up your brick and mortar?
So I've always kind of just done things at home with the kids, right? Like I'd sew and maybe sell some things and whatever. But nothing really big until my baby was a year before she was going to go to kindergarten. And I'm like, oh boy, what am I going to do? I need to get busy. Mm-hmm. So an 18-year-old girl that had an Etsy store said, and I'd just given up my massage therapy stuff because that stress level was, I was seeing patients with more and more deep, heavy issues that I knew I could help them with. But I would also have to have support to not take that on myself. And it was like, you know what? The amount of money I'm going to spend just to have a therapist myself,
right.
It's like, okay, I'm out. I can't do this. And just realizing that there's somebody else out there for them. And it's okay. So then, yeah, let's get back to creating with my hands. It's fun. It'll be great. And it was great. It was awesome. So we rolled with our first little Etsy shop for many years. I still have in my Etsy shop. And that allowed me just to work from home because I always wanted to be home when my kids got off the bus and went on the school bus. So I would wake up with my husband at 5 o'clock, learn how to type on a computer. I called him literally one day and I'm like crying. 5:30 in the probably morning, right? How do I turn a computer on? It always just been on.
That's awesome. Yeah, but here's the thing. You didn't know. But you figured it the fuck out.
I know, but I guess I wish that somebody could have just showed me even the basics.
Basics, yeah.
Like, hey, honey, I still can't even type correctly. I do this funny little type thing, and my husband's like, do you think you...
You didn't have... I don't know about you, but we had, like, typing classes in high school.
Well, I know. I took the Mavis Beacon one, and I kept failing. I'm like, I can't be a failure. Forget this. So I just hired out. So then I always have had a young girl be my Etsy assistant. So she'd do the listings and the typing, and then we opened a blog because my first store, Etsy, I get on Instagram. This is how Instagram started. Instagram has been around for a few years or so.
How long since Instagram been around? Like 5, 6?
No, it's been around, like 15 years.
No.
Yeah, because I've been on there like 10.
How is that? No, because, Facebook has been around, huh? You were in middle school when Instagram started?
Yeah, so my kids too.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
okay.
My oldest was in middle school when I got on, and it was at a time when not very many women were on social media. It was very taboo. I mean, I was up against some, in my local community, I was bad.
What do you mean? I remember Facebook. I was on Facebook when it started. Well, I mean, not when it really started.
I mean, what mom of 7 goes on?
Wait, you have 7 children?
I do. Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. I didn't know that. Yeah. How old are they?
My oldest is 30.
Okay.
And I think.
And you're young. Don't you have a teen? You have a, like...
My youngest is 16. Yep, and she does our thing.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you had 7 kids.
Yeah. 2 of them are married, and so we got 4 grandkids, and another one on the way.
Wow. So
life's busy. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, and then I decided to do this. You'd be like, what?
And then you make all that stuff at home. I watch your farm. I love your farm. It's kind of like a dream.
We have this cow right now that is this creamy tan color. We're all obsessed with him, but he's...
What's his name?
I have no idea.
What do you mean?
Well,
you're not going to kill him, right? You're not going to eat him, are you?
Yeah,
Oh, God, I can't do this. Really?
Yeah.
Is that why you don't name them?
No, they're named. My grandkids named them, and I forgot their names. I can't even remember my own kids' names at this point. I mean, like, right? What's that cow's name? I don't know.
So, really?
Yeah, we used to have, like, double stuff and Oreo because we had the black belted cows. They were so cool. It was like, Oreo, 2 Oreo cows out there. So they were double stuff and Oreo.
And eventually you're
we butcher them for the meat because you can have the quality that you want versus...
And there's no point where you're like, we're going to let this one live. This is a pet. I don't think I could ever do that.
No, because I am obsessed with good quality food. And I'm like, we want that control. And we're blessed that we have the property to do that with. So it's like, you know what? Let's use it.
And are you originally from Ridgefield?
No, well, right outside of Ridgefield. I went to Prairie High School. So the weekends, I was called a mall rat. I'd spent a lot of time at the mall. So just kind of outside Ridgefield area. And then, when my husband and I got married, we couldn't afford anything in town.
So you got some land and built your farm?
We got, we had to flip a lot of houses in order to afford this one. But eventually afforded my dream house. I drove by it every day. When we got married, we lived out in the country, and we drove down this one road, and there would be the old farmhouse sitting there, and I'd say, someday that's mine. The old people that lived there had lived there for 35 years.
Wow.
And when it went on the market, we had just got done building a big custom house on the river, and we were going to live there forever.
And then the house came up for sale.
Oh, no. No, we decided to move to Montana. Oh, yeah. We were just going to pick up and move. That was going to be great. And that didn't work out. We went there, put an offer on a house. We were going to start doing rental houses and flipping houses and all the things that we were good at. And my husband was going to get out of his job. So he was going to manage houses versus being an electrician. And we had the offer on the house, and there were 5 reasons why we could not go there in one day. We got 5 reasons. One was I was pregnant, and they would not cover pre-existing conditions on our insurance, so that meant we had to go to Cobra. Nobody can afford that.
Right.
His dad came down with cancer. And, there was quite a few, like I said, 5 things. I listed them out. My husband walks in that door that day, and I go, we're not moving. I was the one that probably wanted to move more than he did, because...
so then so you don't, and that's Montana, and you built a house?
We built a house here, a nice big custom house. I don't miss that. The views were great. The kitchen was fabulous. The soaker tub.
But don't you... So do you believe in karma? Do you believe in, the road presents itself and you have to take it, right? So when there are 5 things, and those are big things.
They're big things.
You can't ignore those things.
No.
Something is telling you...
We could have fought against that.
Of course.
And we debated it. Do we fight this and just, But thankfully we didn't, because then the economy took a massive hit.
Right.
We would have lost everything, because we were putting everything on the line. All of our money would have been on the line, and we would have been you wouldn't even had money to come back home. So we later were like, you know what, this was meant to be.
Yeah.
So then we sell the house on the hill because we were going to go to Montana. Oh. Well, anyways, had to kind of...
So when does this farmhouse with these people become available?
Oh, so we're renting a house with the kids, and we're deciding we're going to build again. And pick out this beautiful piece of property kind of outside of Ridgefield. It's flat. The house was going to be amazing. Oh, the plans, we customized it. It was awesome. But the neighbors had their garden on the property line, and we knew that if we told them to take that garden off the property line, we were going to have a fight for the rest of our life. And we just didn't want to do that.
No.
So we let it go, and then we couldn't really find anything. And this farmhouse had been on for sale for a year. But I couldn't afford it, right? It was I took the flyer out of the box, and it's there's no way. Can't afford this thing. So we keep driving by it, and I'm like, there's my house. There's my house. Well, everybody else and their brother kept saying that too. Who wouldn't want to live on this cute little white farmhouse? And so we're looking at houses available that are already pre-built, and they're so janky, and it was that's for sale. It's awful. The inside needs gutted. It's can you... And there's still houses like that on the market to this day, and I go, they're selling for how much, and you got to remodel that? That's awful. I don't mean to be stuck up, but it's
no,
yes. What
yeah.
is pink sinks? Really? We're still doing pink sinks? Okay. Anyways, bless their hearts. I could vibe a pink sink, don't get me wrong, because I just saw a
I was
house.
going to say, there's some ways you could make a pink sink work.
Oh, yeah. No, I just saw a house with an aqua blue hot tub from like the 70s down in their basement, and you should have saw it. And I'm like, I could vibe this space out, these sliding glass doors that go out onto this patio that definitely needed cleaned up, but the people were going to pull that hot tub out. And I was like, oh no. I would have that thing. Just get somebody restore the mechanics of it. Oh.
Okay, well, you have your farmhouse. So now,
so we finally bought the farmhouse. My husband comes home one day because we couldn't find anything on the market. We're completely depressed. Don't know what to. Well, I mean, I shouldn't really throw it out there like that, but it was discouraging.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah, and we couldn't find land. So the economy dropped, and so luckily we made the money on the big house at a good time because it was just starting to
so you hit it right.
We hit it right. And yeah, one day he comes home with the flyer and he says, well, we have an appointment tomorrow with the farmhouse. And I said, well, it's sold. He goes, you haven't even seen it.
Was it what you wanted? Like, did you walk in and go, yep? Because a lot of times you're like, that's what I want. And then you get there and you're like,
yeah. No, one night I'm like laying in bed. I go, Vic, we can't buy the house. Well, I can't do this. It doesn't have pull-outs in the kitchen. It does. The cabinets, like, you know, the bottom cabinets, they don't have pull-outs drawers. I can't do this. And he's like, really? That's going to be the make it or break it.
I know, you're like you make stuff. That's not like a thing. Can't you fix that? I feel like you can fix anything.
Well, yeah, but I couldn't see past that. Because, do
you think that was just fear? Do you think you were just looking for reasons because you were afraid? I mean,
well, financially, yes.
Financially, yes, but this is this is also the house you always wanted and you saw, and sometimes you get to something you always want.
I think it was the financial fear.
Okay.
It was really what it was, because I could deal with all the wallpaper and the crusty carpet on the floor.
Right.
Like, that's easy, right?
Right.
And Vic and I talked about it, and we're like, okay, you know, we need to scale back our life from flipping houses and being so busy with the kids. And so if we buy this, we're not going to just go in and tear it apart and remodel it. I'm like, okay. We'll just take it one step. And I'm like laying in bed thinking of all those rooms that need redone. And
all the stuff you want to do to it to make it, yeah.
So Vic goes, well, you know what, just make an appointment with the old guy, and just check out the kitchen one last time. So I go in there and I look at the cute little yellow cabinets that were handmade, and I ask him, I go, these probably don't have pull-outs in there, do they? And he goes, well, yeah. And he opens it up, and sure enough, the drawer's pulled out because somebody had already customized it.
So that's a sign.
Sold. That and the old man.
And how long have you been there?
We've been there 16 years.
So your kids kind of grew up there. Not the older ones as much, but the little ones.
Yeah, my baby. Yeah, the younger ones. Yeah, it's been good. It's been awesome. That's so my jam. You know?
Well, the house looks wonderful. I look at it all the time. I love when you're in your home. I mean, not that I don't love the Hallstrom stuff, but it's such a vibe.
Well, it's so welcoming. You know, it's like the house on the hill was like, it was beautiful, it was well done, but we had people coming out just to see the house. And that doesn't feel good. And to know that I had to hurry up and like, kids, go clean, and we have to clean top to bottom. You left the bathroom, you do this, you do, right? And then I got food, and I got to prepare food because people are going to come over. And like, I've never visited with these people before, I just kind of know them. But they want to come check out this house. Well, I know people want to see the farmhouse now, but
that's your home.
Yeah, like
it's your home. They can go to Hallstrom Homes. So Hallstrom Homes, you gonna have another one? You gonna open a couple? Oh yes, she is. Look, I see the face. Look at it. It's a good space. It's awesome. A good store. You have beautiful, amazing things.
I know. I don't know. We talked about it when I first opened. I said, okay, Vic, in 6 months, let's open another one. I was that delusional.
And this is the first brick and mortar space you ever owned.
Yeah.
So
now I dream of having like mini anthropologies all around the country.
You should.
I could, but I can't do it alone. And my husband is the systems guy. Not necessarily. My bookkeeper's pretty fabulous too. And getting the right employees helps too, because if they already know systems and they're coming in and they're like, oh, I'll fine tune that.
But don't you think the right employees, it's so huge. So I've owned brick and mortars, and it's the employees. Can I not be there and it go the way I need it to go? Will they do? No employee is ever going to love your space like you do.
100%.
It's never going to happen.
Yep.
And when you find those really good ones, you hang on to them. But
then you ask yourself, how do I hang on to them? Because it's not always a financial incentive. I mean, like for my daughter, who kind of has managed the store, most of the store herself, and she's 22, I think now. I was telling her, well, I should probably give you another pay raise. And she goes, Mom, it's not really the money.
it's not the money.
I mean, she needs it because...
But she wants to do something else? Is that what it
No,
is? Or
she does like her job. She goes, Mom, you don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I try to keep as much money into the business as possible. That's why I don't draw a paycheck.
Right.
I'm just counting on it paying off later. I don't know what that's going to look like, but there's bigger things out there. I mean, it is so big what I'm going to do.
Oh.
It's really weird. I feel
What are you going to do?
I don't know. It's right here.
You're just going to keep going. But don't you also think...
Oh, sometimes I just want to, like, hide. And
But most of growth, I find, is opportunities present themselves,
Yes.
and most people do not take them because
Yeah.
they're afraid. They're afraid they're going to fail. I don't fucking care about failing. You probably don't either.
Oh, I don't want to, but I know
We
it's a
don't want to,
possibility.
but you'd rather take the chance.
Yeah, I would. Those things that are so cliche in business, but
But they're true.
true. And
Like, you literally have to keep investing in the business. You're not going to make any money for years. And
that bites, by the way.
it does bite, and it's usually like 2 years, and nobody's going to pay attention to you for a while, but you got to keep grinding it out, and
Yeah.
you got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And if you open a business to get rich, you're going to fail. It has to be that thing that drives you, that you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and you're like, oh, I have an idea.
Exactly.
Right?
I love that.
Yes.
It's called the dopamine rush.
Right.
I am addicted to dopamine rushes on a small scale and a massive scale
Right.
on the daily.
Absolutely.
And I've luckily just realized what that is, and what drives me is those little kicks. Like, I will literally freak out over a little thing. Like, freak out, well, so that I can get that dopamine rush.
So so you're 2 years in.
Yep.
I mean, from the outside, it's a successful business.
It is.
I mean, we all know that. It's very obvious it's a successful business. Ridgefield is
Amazing.
an amazing place, growing like crazy.
The people here are exceptional, and I can't say that enough. I know areas. I know.
You mean the residents?
Yeah, the people who live here and are part of this community, and we have a vast difference of like types of people.
Yes.
But you know what? It's amazing. There is really nothing better.
I think the people are fantastic. However, I will tell you,
I mean, there might be a few bad apples.
a lot of that is you and your customer service and walking into your store and the feeling you get, because there are other places in town, and I'm not saying dissing on any or any, but customer service and how your customer feels when you walk in and how friendly it is and helpful and welcoming. Not all places do that.
No, I know, and I've lost sleep over it. I've cried many tears, because if I feel like I did not provide the best customer experience, I'm very hard on myself. And I've grasped that I cannot be that person for everybody that walks in the door. There's times that they don't get a hello. Right? I mean,
because you're a person and you're doing other things and you have a lot going on.
But I think I've now just embraced that when you walk into Hallstrom Home, the store, you are walking into my farmhouse. Like, it's going to be messy. The floors might need clean. There's a dog. There's sometimes 2 dogs.
I love the dog.
I love
that dog. I actually sent a newsletter out a couple weeks ago. Had nothing to do with you. I think it was Mother's Day. Okay. And I was like, had nothing to do. I was happy Mother's Day. Oh, this is what's going on in the area if you're interested. And I put a picture of Daisy in the email because I love your freaking dog so much.
Daisy's pretty awesome.
She is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, interesting story about Daisy. I don't know how long we have here, but she's basically the mascot of the store. She's so chill. Just she has made people feel so comfortable and lighten their days. I mean, sometimes people that just lost their dog, sometimes they just need a little extra love or just to be able to pet the dog, and just she has brought so much to people's lives. And then I took her out of the store right after Christmas, and
is she okay? What's going on?
Yeah, no, she wasn't. We almost put her down 3 times.
And she's not a young girl. How old
No,
is she?
she's about 11, but she was still too young. It was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, why is she was depressed, and she just wasn't really functioning very well. And I'm like, watching her, like how she would get up, and there were so many little things, and I'm like, I don't get it. So we went a few months, and I'm like, okay, I'm not pulling the trigger on this yet, but I just knew I wasn't going to let her suffer.
Right.
Too many people do that. So my kids are like, oh boy, when mom loses Daisy. And of course I had Wild Willow, and I still have her. So come to find out, she was living in my emotions.
Well, what do you mean? So you were having difficult times, and the dog was feeling it. And I 100%, dogs are the best things ever invented. And so she was really... And how did you figure this out?
I brought her to the dog groomer, who she's incredible, and she's very intuitive and knows dogs, and we're talking about Daisy, and she's like, just hold off, like, just let's take it maybe one day, 1 week at a time. And I'm like, okay, because I want to be systematic here. I want to have things in control.
Yeah.
I know what to expect, and if I'm going to have a funeral or what, could you tell me? And so I stepped back from that and just like, okay, we'll just see how it goes. I wasn't still really seeing much change, and the stress load that I was under and the emotions I was dealing with eventually lifted. And when it did,
she got better.
Yeah. And so I'm talking to the groomer again, and even the kids and stuff, and I'm like, look, Daisy's mostly back to normal. I mean, she still has her hip issues, but that's because she was ran over when she was a puppy and
But she's a Saint Bernard?
Saint Bernard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aussie. And so she's doing better and functioning and happy. And I'm happy. But that stress thing that I couldn't control back in, it started in December.
Was it the stress from the store?
It was the store, but I'm going to be honest, I had an employee situation that was scary for me.
And I had a relationship like that. But then you see it, and then you know it, and you learn so much about yourself.
Yes.
And then you also realize, fuck it. Like, isn't it? It's like, well, I survived that.
I did, but there was a lot of cuss words that came out of my mouth during that time.
Well, that's okay.
I'm like a mom of 7, got grandkids. My grandkids were hearing cuss words coming out of my mouth when I would be home from work. I'd be like, oh, wow.
Now, did this person we started, because you mentioned your brother, and we don't have to talk about that if you don't want to, but they reminded you of...
No, because my brother...
Was this going on at the same time?
No, this is 2 years later, because my brother killed Paul the first part of November, and then we had just signed our contract for the store when we got home. So I'm there with my mom, and I'm still dealing with, okay, the contract needs to be signed. We got this legality stuff going on. And it's like, I know that when I leave my mom, I got to go home, sign this contract and do our build out. In which we designed the store ourselves. So we had to get our contractors.
Rhonda.
Yeah. And they say after a time of loss, no matter who it is in your life, you should never do anything big. Like, give yourself a year. So that was tough. I'm telling you, us women are stinking strong. I didn't have a choice. This fell in my
I know
lap.
they say that, but my mother died unexpectedly, and this was a number of years ago. I don't know, 6, 7 years ago. And I'd say within a month I started my own business, and it and I yes, but I feel like I needed to.
I felt
and
like
I
that at
suffered
times too.
the entire time,
Yes.
and I was in grief, and it was
Yes.
horrible. But it gave me something, and I feel like if I didn't have that, I didn't plan on it. It was,
just
worst
worked out.
time in the world, but this is what.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's the entrepreneurial brain.
I know.
That's how we fix ourselves. Because some people, that doesn't make sense. The entrepreneurial brain is a little wacky. Maddie has it, and I always told her, "Oh, your life is going to be ups and downs and lefts and rights."
Oh, yeah.
And
We love the roller coaster
Yes,
ride.
yes.
Yeah.
But you can't stop it. You can't choose not to be that way. So is your brother in jail?
Yeah. Yeah, he hasn't been sentenced. The cops said...
Oh, so this is still going on.
Probably. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to write him. I don't know how. I don't know how to find him. You know? But I'd like to write him a letter.
You should. You should. Life is difficult. And you know, we don't know what's going to freaking happen.
Yeah.
But you're right. Women kind of just keep on fucking going, man.
We do. And I mean, even if it's not, you're not doing something massive like opening a retail store or women are just, they're
amazing.
Strong. They are amazing.
Amazingly
I mean, we can
strong.
take on emotionally, physically, and I was saying that today on my Instagram stories. I'm like, my daughter-in-laws, they're great people. They're amazing. My daughters especially, they got a little bit of me, a little spicy. I love that. I love that. Because they're not vanilla, don't take offense, all you vanilla people out there, but because they're not vanilla,
Vanilla people don't know they're vanilla.
they probably don't. And we love them, and I need them. We need
all types.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I love that my girls are going to figure out this life with.
Well, they've got.
And
Yeah.
we do as women. We figure it out. But I wish we could see more support. And it's so interesting because I go into being online. I've built a community of support.
100%.
And the ones that haven't supported me,
Do you get
those
trolls?
relationships just end up dissolving, whatever, right? But online we have this support that keeps us going. It's not perfect, but we do this. And then I had to do retail local, right? So now you're looking for a whole different support system.
How's that going?
It sucks.
It's more difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know.
It sucks.
But
It
don't
sucks
you-
because I have to look at myself on the daily, and I'm so freaking sick of analyzing myself and not being good enough and not doing it right. And I'm never going to because I don't fit in a box.
Yeah, but who's to say what's right?
Other people.
Yeah, but
Everybody has something to say.
do you listen to them? Because I
used
never
to.
care.
On a certain level, yeah.
Well, I think we all do when we're
Yeah.
younger. But don't you get to a certain point and you go through the trials and the tribulations and the ups and the down, and life kicks you down and shit happens. Bad shit. Way worse than some yo-yo across the street who's like, oh, Rhonda's posting too much or whatever.
yeah.
Literally, who the fuck cares?
I don't know.
Does it still bother you?
At times, but it's not.
I mean, I guess it's normal for it to bother you a little bit, otherwise we'd be robots, right?
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
it doesn't affect how you do things.
I just keep showing up even more.
That's right.
I just be like,
Yeah.
you know what? I would like to do things different. I feel like I would like to show up and be funny. Oh my gosh, the skits in my head. I'm like, we need, but it takes time and and so we're not going to probably be that funny and whatever. But I think what affects me is when it's my own kids that have to deal with the people saying like, oh, like, who's your mom? Oh, well, why does she do that? Or
yeah, but you know, and I know you tell your kids this, because I tell the people here this, because Amanda gets upset, and I'm like, this is not about you. It's about them. They are unhappy with the choices they're making in their life, or maybe they
I think
aren't taking the risk or being bold. You're being bold, and that scares other people.
It is scary. It's intimidating, but I love it. I love that when I just show up authentically me, and sometimes I'm crying, sometimes I'm sharing my life, sometimes it's laughing, sometimes it's honesty, and that
it's authentic. I love it so much.
It has changed people's lives.
Yes.
And I hate to even say it that way.
Why? It does. And you know, we're big on women supporting women here, and there are the douchebags over here. I'm sorry.
I know.
There are the ones who will hate and put you down and do nasty shit and can't be happy. And then there's the other ones. And so we fuck with the other ones. I mean, literally, it's how it goes. There will always be those two camps. And sometimes the ones over in the douchebag camp get older, they learn, they go through things, and they go, oh.
Yeah, we can still give them
they
grace.
Mature. Yeah. But, I mean, again, rules and what you're supposed to do, what you're not. Who the hell? We're human beings. We're all going to fuck up. We're all going to do things. I'm sure you put stuff out there and are like, I didn't like that. Who the hell? But again, who cares? Who cares?
Who cares? And I mean, sometimes I care.
Yeah,
but like, right.
But you can't stop.
No, you can't stop. And ultimately, I look back at my younger years as a child, and we thought our parents had life dialed down, and I just want my kids to see that I'm brave, I'm successful, but I don't have this figured out, and you're not going to have it figured out. And there's going to be so many times that you just be like, what am I doing here? And it's okay to ask that as an adult. Who has it
figured out? Does anybody have it figured out? If they have it figured out, I don't think they're taking enough risks. I don't.
I do. I know a lot of people.
But do they?
Yeah, their life's fairly set. They kind of have this routine of what they do, and it's comfortable.
But would you be happy like that?
Well, no, because I'm spicy.
Right. So, and spicy comes with the good, the bad, the ups and downs.
I do want to say, though, my mother said I was the easiest child to raise, and I was very sweet. And I'd be like, really? I don't know what she was. I wonder if she's lying. Because for as long as I've known myself, I have been a little spicy. I push back from a lot of rules that people, right? And I know we have to follow rules and laws and
but maybe your mother appreciated your spicy. My mother, Gretchen, would call me queen bitch all the time. Stop being such a bitch. But she always did it with she liked it. Cute. Like she liked that I was like, she's like, Shannon, you're such a bitch. Yeah. But she liked it. It was her way of complimenting me.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, that's the way I'm looking at it. You know.
Yeah. I appreciate when my girls get a little, not bitchy. There's a difference.
Bitchy's not the right word, I think that's the old-fashioned word that would be used. Yeah. If you were a woman in the 80s and not following the norm as you were supposed to.
There are still women, and I talk about this on my Instagram and in the store, and I just be like, literally, women, don't be bitches. What happens is we get older. And this isn't necessarily older women either, but like as life happens, we become hardened and what I call crusty to life. Like life isn't fair. These things keep happening. We keep shutting off, right? And when we shut off, we're clammed up. And then when it comes out, we have relationships with people around us. We're actually bitches. And it's like, Stop doing that. Take a breath. Okay? Just take a breath.
Does it really matter?
But it does to them, right? Because they're wound up so tight.
Right.
And so the older we get, we just like crabby old women. And so my mission in life is to not be a crabby old woman.
That's
and to
good
try
mission.
and educate people on not how to not. This is how you don't be a bitch.
Right.
Right. There's not a lot of people that say it that way. To say, we are actually training ourselves to be a bitch, to be cold-hearted, to be like, you can't do that. That's not good enough. Why are you doing that? It's like, okay, you've trained yourself to do that. Let's untrain that, because life's too short, honey.
Life's too short. And yeah. Okay, so before we stop, someone who is looking, we have these women who listen to this and running their own business. Do you have advice for them? I mean, this was an hour of advice, but you said you support. Have your support. I could not have done this without my husband. That's right.
I mean, right? And it might not be your husband or your boyfriend, but whoever is your inner closer circle, girlfriend, whatever.
It takes a fucking team.
It does.
There's no such thing as a solo entrepreneur.
Never.
Ever. You can't do it alone. You can't do it in a vacuum. You can't.
Yeah. You need to have somebody to bounce the ideas off of, somebody to help you get on the straight and narrow.
And if you don't have someone, find someone. Reach out. Find a mentor.
But I just don't even think you can, quote, find a mentor, because I have mentored people, but I don't have the time that it honestly takes that they need. You need that somebody on the daily. That it's your sounding board, that when you're like, seriously, do you want to know what this customer did to me? Like, you've got to be able to say these things that are frustrating you.
Yeah.
And when you say these things, it brings clarity so that you know how to fix the situation. You can solve your own problems. That person you're talking to isn't solving it for you.
No, you're talking it out.
Yeah.
You're just talking it out. We did that last night. I have a problem I have to solve. I'm like, I need to talk it out. Just listen to me. Because I know I'll get there as I talk. But sometimes you just need to.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest encouragement for anybody starting their business, or even in it and they want to give up. It's like, take a breath. I mean, I'm just going to say this to you. I started my therapies again. I've always been big into therapy because that's what I used to teach for people and do for them. But so twice a week I'm going and doing that as I don't do a lot for myself, but I'll do that. And you need to do that. And people kept telling me that, Rhonda, take care of you. I get so fucking angry. I'm like, when do I have time?
Yeah, when do you have time?
Right? Like, I used to teach Pilates. I used to hike 3 days a week. I know how to take care of me. Now I'm eating fast food. I'm no longer a granola cruncher. I'm pissed off. Okay? Honestly, I'm just pissed. Like, I've changed my lifestyle for this store. It'll pay off.
It'll pay off.
It's changing.
And
I'm just coming around to it now.
There we go. And it's a cycle. We all get into the crappy ass cycles. And then you got to go, okay, I'm not doing, I got to change.
Yep.
The world will not fall apart if you make yourself meal or take time to go to the therapist. But we always think if we stop and take time and we change things, everything's going to fall apart.
I honestly couldn't, though. The 2 years, I could not.
It's always 2 years. It's always freaking 2 years.
And I didn't know that. See, I'm just always doing things backwards.
It's always 2 years.
And my husband's like, hon, I tried to tell you. And I'm like, because I have this thing, my business was going to be paid off in 3 years. And he goes, that's an unrealistic expectation. It's minimum 5 years, but probably
2 years
7.
to start getting noticed. And then you got to keep on going.
Conk, conk. And I'm like, why does he always have to be right? So that support is huge.
Support. Get support. Huge. And know it's going to be at least 2 years before anything happens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my first year was freaking amazing. What are we talking about? It was amazing. And I didn't know it. And then
because
the second
you were
year
so
hit,
in it.
I go into the second year, and that's when I realized, like, that was great, but now I need systems.
Right. Well, because now you've grown and you have to adjust because it never stays the same.
No.
It never stays the same.
A fit. I was having an adult temper tantrum for a whole year. That was a tough year. So much change I needed to make.
And you're going to have another tough year.
No, I'm not.
At some point you are, because
don't tell me
first
that.
of all, you're going to just sit on your laurels and be like, oh, this is fine.
No, it's because I have dreams and I'm going to make some shit happen.
There we go. That's the way to end it, honey. I love you. Thank you. That was so good.
That was a fun thing that you can edit that out.
No, she didn't edit shit.
What a ride that was. If you made it this far, we'd love to see you back again. Double check to be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss another episode. And just in case, no legal or medical advice was intended in this podcast, only for pure education and entertainment purposes. Thanks again from Vitality Ventures Group. How are you using your power?